It's another great week for trading, and welcome once again to another Buy the Dips, Sell the Rips video. Today, we're going to be looking at some coins that have the potential of giving you guys some really good returns. Even though the market is choppy, we're still going to be able to catch some really good runners. Guys, Penguin went really crazy throughout the week. But if you didn't catch that, you might want to make sure you take a look at some of the plays we're going to be looking at. The first one we're going to get started is called gold. Now, I mentioned this one in Boltz Alpha. Some people already got a nice little clean 2x, closer to 3x on this one, but it kind of retraced down a little bit right now, and it's actually in a very beautiful retracement zone. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you guys, yo guys, you should have grabbed the nice little back here at 300. A lot of smart people did get a back here at 300. Right now it's at 500. It's kind of going to be testing this 600 range. So what I want you to do for this one, guys, I want you to pay attention what happens around 600 and to see if it comes down or if it goes up. If it comes down, you're probably going to get another entry between like around here, like about 400 to, I would say, maybe 300 here, if it does come down again. Now, potentially this might not come down again. So this is why I want you guys to pay attention to this one, because right now it's sitting at 500. It's not a bad bid at 500. I still think this has a really good upside to give you a nice potential. Current market conditions are really bad currently right now. They could get a little bit worse depending on what happens with everything that's going around the world. But I still think this has a really good upside in the sense. But I want you guys to get a perfect entry. So I would say anything around 450 to that 300 would be a nice little entry. And you got to give this a little bit of time, but I do think you could get like a nice 2 to 3x return here, possibly more if the markets get a little bit better. But that's going to be called gold. And for those of you guys that already made money on Boltz Alpha, GG's, you guys played it well. If you guys want to get on these plays early before they go from here to all the way up here, make sure you join Boltz Alpha. Link down below to our Discord server. With that being said, let's jump right into the next one. The next one is called Claude, and this is actually a really good one. It had a nice little run up. Right now, once again, it's coming down on a retracement here, and that's where we want to see what happens, because we are in a very good market, especially for stuff that's related to this meta, which is kind of similar tied to AI meta. So what I would do is I would look for something around the 5.2 million. I think that's a beautiful entry if you're looking for one. Ideally, if the market conditions keep to get worse and worse, you might see a dip down to 4.5, and that's kind of like where you want to kind of allocate a little bit. And I do think you get a nice little bounce here, potentially a run up to all-time high. But it all depends on if the meta sticks. If the meta sticks, you probably see a break of all-time high. So theoretically, it could give you a nice little 3x. Always make sure you're precautious and you take your profit on a nice 2x to 30 to 40%, however you want to play out the play. The next one we have, guys, is Chill House. And Chill House is a token like, it's like one of those tokens that you're playing a game and the bad guy never dies. This is basically what Chill House is. It's like it never dies. The coin always resurrects for some apparent reason, right? So it always comes back to life. Like you see, it's had so many resurrections, and sometimes the resurrections are pretty bullish. Like for example, this one from 2 all the way to 24. Beautiful. So what I'm looking for right here, guys, is I'm just looking for the perfect entry right here. I think anything right here, like in this 3 million range, even though right now it's in a very good spot, it's at 4 million. But like I said, the market conditions are a little bit choppy, so you might see like a little bit of a dip here below this. So 3.2 mil seems pretty good right here. Of course, 2.3 would be kind of like the level out that you want to play it out. But this one gives you a nice little 30 to 50% almost every time, potential of 2 to 3x, but definitely one you want to keep an eye on, especially in these market conditions. The next one we have is Spark. As you guys know, big fan of Spark, and it's kind of crazy that it got this dip here down to 1.7. Right now, retraced back to 2 mil. Might come back down to 1.7 again, just for the simple fact of the way the market is behaving right now. But this one is a longer term hold, in my opinion. It's going to take a little bit more time to develop. But when it develops, you're going to be like, dang it. Why didn't I not take a position on this play? Because this is not going to be something that, I mean, it could happen overnight. But I don't think it's something that's going to, we're going to wake up tomorrow and it's like super duper high. I think it's going to be fluctuating. People are going to be kind of just scapping a little bit. But eventually, that 1.7 entry is going to look very juicy. Mark my words on this one, and make sure you guys take that to the bank. With that being said, we have a GSD. Now, this one in particular, it's a little bit more riskier. due to the fact that I don't know how high the upside is this because it's going to all depend on the developer. But I did want to mention it, not for you to get here in this 2 million range. Ideally, it's not a bad range, but you want to kind of just see if it comes down to this 1.7 range. That's where I would go into it. Right now, if you miss that 1.7 range, see if it comes back down, and that's probably when you want to get into it. This one's going to be like one of those hit and misses because if it does come down to that part, then you have a bounce. If it goes lower than that and it comes down all the way down to here to that 1.1 mil, it's almost like game over type of thing. Like, is it over or is it not over type of thing? But really, really good coin. It has a really good theory on it. So hopefully you guys check that one out. The next one is Uranus, and this one, guys, it is. I keep mentioning this one. It keeps getting bottomed out, bottomed out. Ideally, our bottom down section was here that 5 million here. Now it's down to 4 million. I don't think this is gonna look. To be quite frank with you guys, I doubt that this goes below 1 million. Okay, so the lowest I think this goes is to 3 million, and it kind of just stays there for a while. But I do see that there would be an upside here on a longer term play where this actually, kind of gives you a nice little 30 to 50% to a 2x to a 3x. It's just one of those longer hold ones that you might see the chart dip a little bit more from your initial entry and you might start panicking. So what I would do with this one, I would just kind of play it by looking at the chart, set up alerts. We have alerts on the Discord server as well that will notify you when the chart goes to a certain level that I feel very comfortable in. So that's a big advantage if you guys are in Boltz Alpha. But with that being said, 3 mil seems like a very decent entry here that I would look for. Even though the entry right now is not bad, I still think that we could potentially see a dip just the way the market's behaving. And hopefully Jupiter decides to do something about their coin. All right, so the next one we have is PMX. Big fan of PMX. As you guys know, I've always mentioned this quite often. It's giving you that nice 30 to 40% returns. I think right now 1.7 is completely bottomed out. Like 1.5, 1.7 would probably be like the bottom of this coin. I still think potentially the coin does reverse a little bit with the new updates they have to their website. A couple things that they're working on. I think the kind of like the wave of predictive marketing is not completely over. I think we're going to see another wave of people are going to get pretty hyped about it. So I do feel like this might make a return. So 1.7, not a bad entry, something I would definitely consider and place a nice little bit there, but it is a longer term hold granted, okay? The next one we have is 216. This is once again another like kind of brain rot meta type of play here. Kind of came down to 1.6 here. And the all-time high on this was 4.8. So ideally, I mean 1.6 ain't bad, but I mean ideal entry would be 1.3. That's kind of like where I would be like, okay, let me take a position on this one, see what's up. But 1.6 ain't bad either. So if you like to, you kind of gamble, be like, yo, this is gonna keep ripping. I'm gonna take a position on it right now. You could do it, but I would probably wait to that 1.3 and kind of set a nice stop loss here because it all depends on the meta shifts on this one. Same thing with brain rot. Okay. The next one we have is cards, and this one in particular is another one that I'm pretty bullish on. I think the card season is not over, and I think a lot of us are gonna go and into the card season and be like, bro, I kind of faded that one. So, ideally, entry here, you want to get this perfect entry of 12 or 10 mil. That's kind of where you want to get in. Right now, it's at 13. You probably wanted to come down again, but I don't think this coin is completely dead because I just think the card meta is still going to be a thing as we progress throughout the year and we get new cards coming out. So whenever that happens, this is going to go up, or a new Pokemon card comes out, a new deck. There are rumors that they're going to have some sort of card deal with a big food chain that's going to have cards in them and you're going to be able to buy them. So I think this might pick up on that sense, on that notion. So cards is another one that you want to look for, that 12 mil range. That's kind of where you want to get in there. The next one we have is Penguin. Now, this is the one we're talking about, that this thing ripped from zero all the way to 170 mil. Okay. Pretty crazy run for those of you who got in there. Really solid play. Unfortunately, it already had the bounce from seven here. Now, this is kind of like what I would do with this play right here. Ideally, I just want you to keep an eye on this one coin because what happens right now is I want to see how much this 70 bounce will have potential of pushing the coin. Is it going to push past the all-time high or is it going to get rejected? That's kind of what I'm looking at. Ideally, what you want to look here, guys, is you kind of want to see a nice little support area here around this 40 mil here. That is kind of like where you would consider getting back into this coin if it does come down to this point and we get a bounce from here. Ideally, of course, I want to see the coin be successful, so I would love it for it to bounce from here and keep just going higher. But 40 range, if it does be like, what people are like, no, they just keep selling, it comes down to 40. That's where probably you want to take a position between that 40 mil to 35 mil range, where you want to take a position. But right now, just keep an eye on it, okay? If you're not in it, even though if you want to get in and scalp a little bit for like a 30 to 40 to 50 to a 2x, still possible. I just feel like the market conditions are a little bit choppy right now, where the reversal is a little bit, kind of on the fence. What do we have here? Wojak. Now, Wojak, as you guys know, big fan of Wojak. 5 mil entry was kind of like nice. If you didn't get that 5 mil entry, it sucks because it's already on a 2x right now. I just want to see a retracement for this one to come back down to that 5-6 mil range. That's where I want to put a position. Even though 10 is still not bad theoretically, I still think this kind of gets an opportunity to go back up to like maybe like all-time high. But that 5 mil entry was ideal. This was like awesome. Okay. Um, I'm hoping this gets rejected and it comes back down. That's where I'll take a position, if you're not in Wojak. Right now, still not bad, but do keep in mind that the higher the coin is, the less X's you're going to have. And potentially this kind of goes back to like maybe like around there, like 20-25 mil range. So it's still a 2X, but I just want to see if we get a dip. So I just want you guys to keep an eye on that one. The next one we have is useless, completely bottomed out at 60 mil. It's kind of tested the 60 mil range already. It bounced back to 120, so that was a nice little 2x here. Really good time to get in right now, just because it's the lowest it's been. You buy it, see what happens. Potentially, it could, with the market conditions, come down to that 40 mil range. That's an ideal entry because I do feel like this does kind of get a bounce. Even though it might be a low bounce, you're still going to be able to make some profit. So I mean, listen, I don't know if it's going to come down to 40 mil. I hope it doesn't. I have a nice bag here. Been holding this thing since 2 million. But with that being said, 40 mil is not a bad entry. It's actually a pretty decent entry, with a nice little upside of a 2 to 3x there. So do keep that in mind. The next one we have is another one that I'm a big fan of, is AVIC. Once again, a very good coin. It's giving you that entry again to that 28 mil range, kind of give you that 26 mil range. And you see the bounce it had from 20, from that 28 all the way to 60. So a nice little 2x bounce. I don't think it dips any lower in the sense. I don't think we see it any lower than it currently is right now. I highly doubt it comes down to 20. If it does come down to 20, that's where you guys want to kind of position them, because that 20, I do think it gets a nice bounce. Like as soon as it touches, it'll bounce back up. But right now, 28, 26 is not that bad. You can still get a 2x, but 20 would be ideal. So you could position yourself right now with very little and then just kind of ride it up. The next one we have is Fartcoin. Another one that you guys know I love the Fartcoin because it gives you so many good returns. This one, of course, you're looking for a 30 to 50% potential 2x return if the market conditions get a little bit better. Ideally, I kind of wish we get another dip here at 240 mil. That would be beautiful, but I doubt that we get that dip. But if we do get the dip, because we have market conditions kind of playing a little bit tricky with us. If you do that, that's when you want to allocate. Even though you might get another dip here, doesn't really matter. It was not going to affect the pocket. But 240, really solid bid on Fartcoin. And then the last one we have is OneCoin. This one, as you guys know, big fan of the USD1 pairs. It's been the best one out of all of them as far as, how high the market cap is. Right now it came down to 7.5. Ideally, entry for this one would be that 6 million range, which is kind of almost tapped here. That's where you want to allocate a little position. I still think this has a nice little potential, giving you a nice 3 to 4 to 5x. It's just taking so long. I don't know why. I don't know what the team is doing, but I feel like that is the point, where the coin goes. It's just moving too slow. The team is moving too slow, but I think it gets a nice little bounce here at this 7.5 range. So it's something you want to keep an eye on. The last one I want to mention is Brain Rot, and this one, as you guys know, I gave you guys this one so low. You guys made a lot of money on this one. But Brain Rot actually is coming really down, really hard here, all the way to 745. Ideally, this is like the bounce stage, right? This is the kind of like where you're like, okay, it either holds a position, we get a bounce because it went up all the way to 3.3 mil. I mean, from 3.3 mil to 700, that's a big dip. So it's either gonna die or it's gonna go back up. It's one of those things. So this is kind of like a big gamble right now, just because it just dipped too much. Ideally, we wanted to see that bounce at 1.3 and then kind of just hold that, but it didn't, so it rejected it. And this is kind of like where you're gonna make a decision. It's like, okay, I'm a bid on it, put a nice little stop loss. If it goes back up, awesome. If it gives me a kind of like a little bit of a loss, then I'm perfectly fine with it. It's just a gamble I'm taking. So this is a little bit risky right now, just because a lot of people are kind of just overselling it. So hopefully after it gets oversold, we get a nice little bounce here. But it's just wanted to mention it because I know a lot of you guys are in this since we called it down here, and it gave us this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful return over 200x. So hopefully you guys are locked in. Hopefully you guys picked some up. If you do, let me know which ones you picked up. This is once again another buy the dip, sell the rips video. Hopefully you guys, if you want to watch this video early, Boltz Alpha is where you get a chance to lock in and see it early, so you can get into this deeps before anybody else. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.